Welcome back to LJ's Comic Burrow. My name is Jay. I'm your host for the show. And today, because of how many books that I actually picked up this past weekend to be able to go through, I'm going to be honest with you, I will not have a special co-host today. So for those that actually tune in just to see if I have a special co-host, I apologize. I'm already going to keep you a little bit extra time, and I think adding that little extra flavor, you'll be sitting there going, "Dear God, when does the show end? When does it end? Why?" So let's go on with it. The first thing I'm going to ask you to do is, one, if you like what you're watching, you like what you see, please put that little thumb up, subscribe, and leave a comment. I'd love to be able to hear what you're reading about. I'd love to know what superheroes, what stories, what you're collecting. I'd love to be able to have that kind of conversation. That's the best thing about doing this show, is actually having that one-on-one conversation with anyone watching my show. So, to get on with it here. The first thing I'm going to do is show you the first book, which is, bam, Gunslinger. The best, so far, the best series out of all the Spawn series. I absolutely love this book. And this one right here in particular, it's basically just one of those bridge books going on to what's going to be happening next, I guess, in the story of the Gunslinger. Now, my opinion is this. I just read recently that there will be 10 more Spawn related comic books coming out in the next year, which my opinion about this is, if Todd is able to write for at least half of them, I'd be probably willing to give it a try, because Todd has personally already given up his flagship comic book. He's going on. Issue 350 is coming right around the corner, and he's trying to prep it up, and he's trying to sit there and bolster people and bolster eyes onto this comic book. But the series to me is starting to fall very flat, and I personally actually quit Spawn, the flagship comic book, and I skipped them all. I think I'm just down the Gunslinger. Now there's a few that actually had me pretty interested. Salmon Twitch, I think, will be a great comic book, and that'll be written supposedly by Todd McFarlane. I don't know how long it'll be written for. There's also I think the last victim of the Ice Cream Man character in Image. I should say in Spawn. That's supposedly going to be one, and that's not going to be written by Todd himself. But to me, to follow her ghost, I think that'd be pretty interesting. There's several others. I know there's a few that he will be personally writing, but for how long? He hasn't really written steadily, other than, I think, Gunslinger right here. He hasn't written steadily in probably several months, almost close to a year. This has probably been it. So how long will you be able to keep it up, plus keep up all the whatnot shows he's doing, and also all the appearances? Only time will tell. I wish him the best. I hope he does very well. I hope these all become a huge success for him. But if he doesn't have his finger on the pulse, I just don't think it'll last. And actually, I would love to be able to hear from you guys what you think of 10 more Spawn-related comic books that are coming out. Next one I'm going to show you is Flash. All right. Absolutely awesome. This is a Minor Key, first appearance of the Stillness. I absolutely love this. I actually read the first one, and I thought it was amazing. Wally West, Cy Spurrier, I think, is the one writing this, and he does an amazing job. So this is one of those that I say, hey, you should pick up and give it a try. Now, this is one of my favorites, okay? And I picked up 3 covers for this. Cover A, cover B, and cover C. So I'm a huge Ice Cream Man fan, and these covers were fantastic. So I picked up all cover A. I picked up cover B. And this is the 20 years of The Walking Dead. I had to pick up that cover. It was an awesome cover. So, and the story inside is awesome. I love how they told the story of a man who was writing and I don't want to tell the rest. I'll let you guys pick it up. But it's definitely one of those stories that's a nice follow along. But always sad endings. Always sad endings. All right, the next one is written by the guy who writes Ice Cream Man, Prince. Swan Song. And I picked up 2 covers for this. Obviously, I picked up the 20-year anniversary of Walking Dead, and I picked up the cover A. I love Prince's ideas when he comes to different stories. And the next one's supposed to be an Ice Cream Man Ice Cream Man crossover, so I can't wait to see how he does with that. But Swan Songs is basically the end of something, and to see what he puts for each book is amazing. Each story is individual. You don't need to read the first one, and I do say the ad-lib story is definitely very, very creative. So it's pretty cool. It ends with you have to fill in the bank with an ad-lib. So the next one I'm going to talk to you about here is Immortal Thor, Al Ewing. The best writer. Alex Ross cover, because Alex Ross is a fantastic artist. Especially if you want to sell some covers, he's the guy that you wanted to get. And Junior. Ramita and Ramita June. You can't go wrong. Awesome. I absolutely love the story. I love the way Al Ewing writes. He did an amazing job for Immortal Hulk. He does an amazing job for Thor. This is definitely one of those stories, though. It's just like a bridge story to kind of get you ramped up for whatever's coming next for Thor. But it's definitely one of those you want to pick up. He tells a great story from beginning to end. So now, coming up here, it's Jed MacKay's Moon Knight. And I've talked loads about Jed MacKay's Moon Knight. And as you can tell, it's coming up to the end of Mr. Moon Knight. So I'd love to be able to see how he actually finished this arc and moves on to the next of Vengeance of Moon Knight. See how he gets there. But it's been a fantastic ride. For those that have missed it, you guys have got to go and try to pick up. I always say try to pick up back issues. I like having the back issues, but the trade paperbacks are awesome also. So it's just one of those you've completely missed not reading Jed MacKay's Moon Knight. Now, DC is having a great storyline, and I'm going to tell you, I personally been enjoying this. I know a lot of people have been talking shit. I've been sitting here reading the reviews. I haven't sat there and said, well, my opinion's the same as theirs. Mine's actually completely different. I love the way Chip has been orchestrating this whole Catwoman Batman war. So the Gotham War to me has been fantastic. The next one up for me is Catwoman 58. As you can tell, it's a fucking Delgado. All right. I love Delgado, and I actually go out of my way if somebody actually has something written or drawn by Delgado, I'll pick up a cover, even if I'm not even collecting a comic book, because he does such a great job. As you can tell, look at that clock. Look at the artwork. And Catwoman perched. I mean, come on. That is beautiful, beautiful work. And the next issue you're supposed to be reading is Batman, Catwoman, Gotham War, Red Hood. Awesome, awesome work. This story has been fun. It's been simplified. They tell you at the end what you're supposed to be reading next. You don't get fucking confused. Unlike the Fall of X, where you're supposed to sit there and search out where you're supposed to be reading next. They do an amazing job able to guide you along the storyline. They've done a great job. And I know a lot of people have problems with the DC storylines. Sometimes they're kind of floppy. I know Terror Knights was absolutely garbage. There was a few books that I was told did good. The artwork was probably the best part of the Terror storylines, but that's just my opinion. And if you got a different opinion, dear God, let's hear about it. But personally, it was a little flaky. All right. And it was one of those I was actually pretty happy I didn't jump on board. Now, this is the book that I look forward to. I did a video, made up the 5 best crossovers that Marvel or DC or Image ever did. And this is the reason why. All right. Benjamin Percy, thank you. Fucking thank you. You've made this story amazing. Everything that I personally asked for, you've delivered. All right. You haven't underdelivered. I know I've read a couple critics kind of, put it down saying, well, they could have did more, or why is this just a bridge story? There's action in here. All right. People fucking die. Body parts are being laid out. Shut the fuck up and enjoy the great story. This is one of those great stories that if you're not reading, please go find the second print or whatever you can of the first issue. Get the second issue. You won't regret this one. If you love Wolverine, if you love Predator, if you love Blood and Guts, you fucking love all that great bullshit, this is the book that you should be reading. Yeah. If you're not, yeah, you're definitely missing out on something really cool. Now I'm going to go through the fall of X here. I'm going to go through all these issues. This is a lot of issues to go through. There's a lot of reading I did. I am not going to sit here and tell you about each issue. All right. I'm just going to sit here and let you know the reading order of it. So each one of my videos that I've had the Fall of X, I've sat here and at least helped everybody else that was reading the book to put it in complete order. So this way you don't have to look around. You just sit there, you go to the video, you pop it on through. There's go through the time, and I actually walk you through which issue you should be reading next. I did the work for you guys because Marvel said fuck you. All right. So the next issue is Realm of X number 3. All right. Realm of X number 3. I'm gonna be honest with you. Magic is a badass. All right. Magic is a badass in this, and that's all I'm going to say about that. So that is the next issue you should be reading. Followed by, all right, Iron Man, issue 11. All right. 2 on a honeymoon. Let's see where they roll, okay? Fucking awesome. It was a great story. Astonishing Iceman, issue number 3 will be the next issue after that. This one I wish they had I wish they would have went a little different. I understand why they told the story they did. I wish it was a little bit fuller story. But the next issue is supposed to be having Amazing Spider-Man and his amazing friends. So I'm hoping that fucking brings out that 1980s kid in me. It'll be awesome. So, bam. All right, the next issue will be Children of the Vault 3. All right, let the two heroes right here. These are the only two guys that are actually taking on at this time Children of the Vault, and boy, are they overwhelmed. Great story. I absolutely love it. I don't want to sit here and give it away. The comic book really did just come out that long ago, so it's definitely a lot more action packed than the last one. I felt the last one was more drama. This one definitely carries with all the action. So, bam. Even if you're not reading The Fall of X and you want to read a great story, Louise Simonson, Jean Grey. Okay, you get to hear the backstory. It's pretty much, I don't know if you ever read Chip Zdarsky's Spider-Man story. There was a 6-issue comic book. They go from basically beginning all the way into where they at this present time in Spider-Man, and each one was a different age. It was 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. That's more like what this is. It is beautifully done. This one more updates you. This one to right about where she is maybe 10 years ago. Great interaction between her and Madeline. I think you could see the jealousy in Madeline. You can see that, this is a reason why she is doing what she's doing at this time. Mrs. Pryor there. So, great issue. Even, like I said, even if you're not reading the Fall of X storyline, this is actually a great series. Louise Simonson is an amazing writer. Beautifully done. And I'm going to say it now. Uncanny Avengers is definitely one of my favorite series also. Issue number 3 is the next one you're supposed to be reading. Deadpool. He's not in here very long, but I'm going to tell you the parts he is really does carry that story. So this is the next one you're actually supposed to be reading. Uncanny Avengers. For those that love Miss Marvel number 3. That is the next issue. Personally, I'm going to say this now. This is out of the first 3 here of the Miss Marvel story. This is probably my least favorite. Everyone can have a different opinion, and dear God, you can yell at me. You can sit there and write me your own fucking comments, but this one is not one of my favorites for this storyline. So, all right. Dark X-Men issue number 3. They had me going that they were going in the right direction for the last issue. Personally, I think they kind of sidestepped again, like they did in issue number 1. I felt like they could have drawn you a little bit more, brought you into it where you're interacting a little bit more with everybody else. I just feel like they sidestepped. So hopefully the next one will be a lot better. But there you go. That's the next issue you should be reading. For those that did not think this would work, I personally was a fan of it. Nightcrawler in The Uncanny Spider-Man. Look at that. Issue number 2. Yeah, issue number 2. This is an awesome story. He really is trying to be the next Spider-Man. I admire this because you can just see he's over trying just to play the part. Beautiful work, great story. I love Nightcrawler trying to be Peter Parker. It's brilliant. So I suggest this is another one of those series. If you're not reading The Fall of X, pick this up. This is just a fun work. Now, the next one after that is Alpha Flight. Alpha Flight number 3. And I'm just an Alpha Flight fan, so fuck it. You should just be picking this shit up no matter what. Alpha Flight number 3. I think it's 3 out of 5. So if you get a chance, pick up some fucking Alpha Flight. I love these guys. Amazing, amazing. And the person that's doing it is really writing a really great story. Left you on a great cliffhanger on the end of this one. So Alpha Flight number 3. That's gonna be sad when that's done because they're just gonna end the series. Now the next 2 books, they're just books my wife picked up, so they're nothing to me. My wife is reading Miles Morales, and she's on issue number 11. I'm just not a Miles Morales fan. Yeah. And you can send your hate mail right over to me. Just leave a comment that says, fuck you, Jay. Miles is awesome. I'm Peter Parker, man. I didn't like Ben O'Reilly. I didn't like Chasm. I didn't like fucking... I don't like... I guess I'm just old school like that. I don't know. My wife's other book is Captain Marvel. She got issue number 1. This is Carol Danvers. And no, I'm not a fan of Carol Danvers either. I mean, good for her. I actually think I mean this is not to sound bad, but when they put her in that movie, when they put her in an Endgame and stuff like that, I actually think that it was a step down. I mean, you had the chance to bring in the actual Captain Marvel, who was actually in the comic book, and instead you're like, no, let's do this. And I'm not saying she's a bad character. She just did not belong there. I felt like I was reading, we could not get the first best, so we just gave you this. We settled. And she has, like I said, they did a good job telling a story, but they fumbled on the Mrs. Marvel in that too. There was no Miss Marvel. It was Captain Marvel, and then Carol Danvers, which was Captain Marvel. So I think they flopped on the whole storytelling of that. I really wish they would have told Carol Danvers' real true story. If you would have told me that, I think you would have sold it to me. But instead, I think they tried playing the comic book readers like we didn't know what actually happened in the books. I mean, and I know it's all fiction and whatever, but when you're growing up and you're reading these stories and stuff like that, and then you try selling us something completely different, that you flop. It's kind of like making, the Miss Marvel a mutant. Wait, she wasn't a mutant. When did she become a mutant? I don't understand. Why didn't you just create her like the comic books, and the stories that we already grew up reading? You would have sold more instead of trying to change everything. So, but there you go, Captain Marvel. Now these were my extra pickups. All right, these are not ones that I'm going to read. These are ones that I absolutely saw and said, "Yay!" I'm so happy. The first thing I got was Thanos Quest, Book 1. I've been looking for this for quite some time, and I've been very patient before I got it. Now I just need Book 2, but I'm on my way there. I'm halfway there, and this is an amazing shape. If you see the spine, I actually did pretty good at this book. So, Thanos Quest, number 1. Now, I love this cover. And I know it's the second print, but hey, I think this negative print is better than the negative print that came out in print 1. This is the Silver Surfer Legacy. I think this is book 2 or book 1. I don't know. But Silver Surfer Legacy, amazing job. The only person that would have did this better would have been Jim Starlin. And yes, if I see him at Comic-Con, he's signing this motherfucking book. Along with that Thanos Quest. Another book I got, Planet of the Simulates, Amazing Spider-Man #1. First appearance of the Planet of the Simulates. So, love this book. Had the chance to get the whole thing, but I decided against it. Now, this one was actually given to me by one of my coworkers, so I appreciate it. He is an awesome. He's actually my boss now. He just got a raise. He just moved up. I love the man. He's an awesome guy. He's really overcome a lot. Overcome a lot. So I want to thank him right here, Frank. Yeah, right. God. Ooh, he's going to sit there and say he's going to kick my ass. I want to thank him right here. Thank you so much, Fran, for giving me this book. I appreciate it. So thank you. Amazing book. Awesome. And it is also a key. So first appearance of this gentleman right here. So I want to thank him for this book. So it's beautiful, and if you see the spine, nothing wrong with the cover, and the pages are white. So I love it. Thank you, Freen. And I've got 3 more books to go through. I love my shiny books, as you can tell. Look at that. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Love that. That was my Jay Garrett issue #1 shiny book. Now I'm not gonna read this book. I just thought it looked like a really cool cover. The Green Lantern, beautiful Green Lantern book. I do love that shiny book. I'm sorry. From a guy that grew up, graduated in the 90s, these are really fucking cool books. We didn't have books like this when we were growing up. So the little shiny stuff, I'm kind of like, beep, 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 gotta get them. And now, I do have reader copies coming to me from Four Corners Comics, so I can't wait to actually get to read it. I picked this up from my other local comic book store, Comics Connection. And I was pretty excited to get the shiny copy of this beautiful book. The Justice League versus Godzilla and King Kong. I'm a huge Godzilla fan. I grew up in the 80s and 90s. Saturday afternoon was Godzilla and King Kong movies every fucking Saturday, and dear God, I was right there in front of that TV watching that shit. So I mean, you tell me, for people my age, you guys remember what, or you guys were outside playing? Personally, it was Godzilla King Kong time, especially after Saturday morning cartoons. So to me, this brings back a lot of nostalgia. All right, so that was my local comic book day pickup last week. So there was my 2 weeks that I pick it up all at one time there. So I want to say, if you like what you're watching, you like what you see, please like, subscribe. I'd love to be able to hear from you. Leave a comment. If you like, tell me what you guys are reading. I'd love to be able to have that kind of conversation with you. Tell me what books you're collecting. Tell me who your favorite superheroes are. One of my one of my special people that here said here watch this show, asked me about what's my 5 top favorite heroes or 5 top favorite villains. So maybe that'll be a show that I end up doing. It'll be showing off the 5 top favorite hero comic books that I have collected or whatever, or favorite villains. So from my family to your family, if you guys go to rescue an animal, please make sure you do your research. Don't go in blindly, because dear God, you never know what kind of issues, what kind of problems that you'll ever run across. And go to your local go to your local rescues first. Look to see if there's an animal there that would need your love or attention. But from my family to your family, I'll see you guys next week. If you get a chance, go check out my Instagram show. I do have a show coming up here shortly. I got a whatnot box with a couple comics that I've always wanted to add to my collection. I'll be showing it off at that channel over there. It's my Instagram, LJ's Comic Burrow. Love to see you next week.